Today's video is made possible by our good friends at Simply Safe. Welcome back, gentlemen, to the shop. I have had to eat some crow of late because it must have been going on a decade or so. I very vigorously promoted the fact that working out of a tool cart in your shop, a small cart like this little Blue Point, was the perfect way to go. Well, I since have realized the error of my ways, and this is not the perfect way to go, primarily because that there's just not enough space as our tool collection grows. Very handy, yes, but two major drawbacks, the space and lack of security. If you're in a place where people come and go and you're investing in expensive tools, the last thing you want is having them out open where folks can pilfer them and put them in their pocket. So that got me thinking, and I moved my tools over to more of a traditional toolbox, but a smaller toolbox. It's only 3 feet wide and 32 inches deep, so it's compact, but it has plenty of room for lots of tools. But it has a serious downside that I am not liking at all, and that falls in the way that the casters and the handles are set up. Let me show you. For me, the features that make a tool cart so usable are two things. It's the double caster, meaning we've got wheels that rotate 360, that you can, whatever way you grab it, it's going to roll and you can push it up against walls, and it's very easy to use. When you're working, I tend to like to bring my tools to what I'm working on versus the other way around. Walking, back and forth. Let's say your truck's over here and then your tools are over here. To be able to have a small cart like I've been using and to roll your tools right next to you, and when you're working on something like a motorcycle or a lawnmower, you turn, you grab your tools. It's an incredibly efficient way to work. The downside with the cart, as I said, not only is there no space on it, but you have no workspace on top. So you essentially need two things. You need to have your tool cart as well as a clear bench, and those of us who know who have shops know that, a clear open bench free of junk is a rare thing to find. So it does have some downsides. Now, the toolbox also has downsides, but I think we can correct those today, and that is the single caster and the single handle. These toolboxes are, of course, reasonably easy to move around, but when you get one filled up with a good amount of tools, you can easily get, a couple thousand pounds in a toolbox. And so having it not mobile or not having good casters on it, it becomes, you're just not going to move it around. This one, like all toolboxes, is set up with only one caster on one side, casters that rotate 360. Problem is if you find yourself in the heat of the moment working and trying to move this thing around, if you try to move it from this side, there's no handle, there's no casters, and you can never really push the thing up against a wall. And that tends to be what you want to do, especially if you have a small shop. You want to maximize your space, and what you'll do is you'll turn it around and you want to push it back into the wall, and you're not going to push it because it doesn't work. So here's what we're going to do to fix this. The majority of your high-quality American-made USA toolboxes are going to have the option to put a handle on either side. It's going to be personal preference depending on maybe a lefty or a righty. But we're not going to switch the handle, we're going to add a handle. If you go to the back, usually there's a sticker that will include the part or model number. You can take that online, just do an image search with that number and handle, and it'll usually come up and you can order the correct one. Once you order your handle, you're going to find a set of casters for that part number, for that box. Now, don't get the fixed ones. We're going to be replacing the fixed ones with these. You want a good, and stick with the factory ones. Don't buy aftermarket, don't buy overseas. These have to be able to support thousands of pounds of tools over a lifetime. And buy once, cry once. Buy the factory wheels and you won't be sad. Loctite 243, if you're just going to have one Loctite, what it is basically it's a liquid that turns into kind of a polymer plastic, and it keeps threads from backing out. Now there's blue, there's all colors, but primarily there's the blue and the red. The blue is medium tight and the red is super locked. So don't use the red unless you really know what you're doing. The blue is something that you can usually get off, but it never comes loose. It's just things that you're grabbing and moving, things that are not static but dynamic parts, on vehicles and such. Loctiting the bolts is such cheap insurance, and you just know it's never going to come loose. Check this out, gentlemen. Dual handles, oh, come on now. But the problem, you can see immediately, you're working, you want to grab this thing and move it. You're not moving it anywhere, and you got to deal with that. So now let's address these caster wheels. To swap out the wheels, you're probably going to need to use a floor jack or maybe even a forklift. This box empty, I think, is close to 700 pounds, and then with the tools on it, it's got to be in excess of a ton. Now be careful when jacking these boxes up. There is a reinforced kind of a trunnion deal, I guess, around here that supports the wheel that carries the load on the outside. Don't stick it in the middle because you can bend and damage your box. Put a 2x4 on there to spread the weight out a little bit. Oh, I'm going to need 2 because this is recessed. Don't jack on this lip. Go inside the lip. Oh, you can just tell it's heavy from the jack. Goodness. Get those wheels off the ground. We can remove the 4 caster bolts. And hopefully, Snap-on sent us the right wheels. Right bolt pattern here. And, oh, good news. And they did. All right, we'll reinstall these guys. And drop her down. SimpliSafe is a modern security system that you can install your own even if you don't have a lot of skills. You can order it online, you can order it over the phone, they'll deliver it right to your house, and in most cases you can do it yourself in about an hour or so. You don't have to drill any holes, the interfaces are very good, it's nothing to be intimidated by. There's never been a more important time to have a security system now, especially one that meshes in with our modern technology. What I love about the SimpliSafe system is to be able to monitor from the app on my phone. I can keep an eye on the cameras, I can see what's going on in the pets, I can even answer the door from a remote location if the UPS comes and wants to leave a package.
SimpliSafe on. Home.
One thing I really appreciate about my SimpliSafe system is there aren't any contracts. You can cancel at any time. If you sign up for interactive monitoring, every door and window of your house is going to be protected. You'll get a call for emergency services if there's any problems, and all of this costs less than $1 a day. One of my favorite features of this system, having little kids around and being close to the river, I worry about them, getting out and who knows what could happen. Just the door alarms. We've set it up so that the door alarms chime, just a gentle chime every time a door opens or closes. It's very, very nice to know when someone is coming or going. It just gives me a little peace of mind knowing that everyone is safe inside. If you'd like to order your own SimpliSafe system, we have a special going on. You can get 20% off of everything this month if you sign up for interactive monitoring. Go to simplisafe.com/Wranglerstar. I've also included a link down the subject heading. Now back to the video. And there we have it. The absolute best of both worlds. A cart that we can roll in any direction, push up to a wall. Wherever we grab it, it's going to be mobile and moving around. Man, I am so excited. One thing to consider when you're buying these boxes, don't buy a new one. Man, the deal of the century are these high quality mechanics boxes that are used on Facebook Marketplace. Snap-on, Mac, Waterloo, Proto, the old Craftsman, the old Kennedy boxes, fabulous boxes. They're all just excellent. Couple things to consider. I probably wouldn't get anything bigger than 3 feet. You get bigger than that and it's just unmanageable and it can get quite heavy. And the 24-inch depth is going to be the most common toolboxes. That's a little bit shallow if you're going to have everything in one box, and it gives you a pretty small workspace where the 32 or the 36, I think it's 32, the deeper ones, it makes a big difference, and you get that deep full extension drawer. You can put a ton of stuff in these things. And the cool part about it is now if you discipline yourself and you get in the habit of making sure you keep the top of your box clear at all times. When you're done working, put everything away. Now when you have a project, you can come up here, and even if every bench on your shop is all covered and you don't have to clear stuff out, you got a place where you can work here. I typically kind of work off to the side. My primary tools are going to be in the top 2 drawers here. You're going to keep your bread and butter stuff in your top 2 drawers. If you want to know how to lay out your toolboxes, just go watch the mechanics, guys that do it for a living, who make a living with their tools. They learn how to be efficient, and I basically copied that. Your good toolboxes are going to have a deep drawer in the top that's going to give you the ability to stand sockets. That's what's a little bit different than maybe some of the older boxes. So just kind of know that. Think about that when you're ordering, having a deeper drawer on the top, and then your second drawer most likely should be either wrenches or screwdrivers, depending on how you work. So I have mine set up with all of my sockets, a 1/4 and 3/8 in here, extensions and Torx bits and such. Then I've got all my screwdrivers, and then the third drawer is going to be my wrenches. You know, that's primarily what I'm going to work. Down here I'm going to have my pliers. I use those a lot, but that's the main thing that a guy's going to be getting at. This is going to be so handy to have this way, to be able to move it so freely. Put your work here, your tools, everything you need. You grab what you need, you set it here, and so handy. I don't know why I didn't do this before. You know, you just get myopic. You think you know something. You think, oh, I know best. And I worked out of a cart when I had my wrecking yard forever. And I didn't even have one of these chairs. Maybe it's my age, or maybe it's just wisdom, but this is the way to go if you tinker and work on stuff. I'll bring my motorcycle up here. I'll roll my tools out right here. I've got my bike right here. Everything's easy. I don't have to get up. It just makes working on stuff a joy and a pleasure. One last thing before we go to consider on these boxes, and this has happened to me multiple times. I ruined a Kennedy box because it did not have locking drawers. Think about that. It's not a necessity, but it's pretty important. These drawers won't come out. They're locking. This is a common feature with many of these boxes. You have to put your fingers under and slide to release them. That's very wonderful, because as you're moving it around, especially if your shop floor is not flat, these drawers will all run out, and the whole toolbox will tip over, and it's a disaster. It'll bend the drawers. It's terrible. I did it twice. Absolutely a nightmare. So what I used to do with my old Kennedy box is I just taught myself, whenever I moved, I stood here on this side, and we rolled along together, and I didn't allow anything to come out. But it's much better to have a locking drawer option. Well, gentlemen, I guess that's just about it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. Take a moment and click the thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. Please keep us in your prayers. We pray for you and your families constantly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all on the next video.